Now, us musicians who play by ear often don't like to hear about sight reading, but whether you like it or not, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Now, like Asel likes to say it, to be a complete musician, you have to be comfortable in any situation. And that includes being in a situation that requires you to read a sheet on the spot. So the song we're going to be working on today is this music sheet. Now, some of you know this song already, but that's not what matters. What matters is being able to read that. Now, this is not what you would start with from the beginning. At the end of the video, I will share a music sheet that's more basic for those of you who've never read music sheet before. Now, to read a music sheet, you need to understand the signs. First thing you need to understand is the clef in the beginning. So that is a G clef or a treble clef, and that is a bass clef or a F clef. Now, the treble clef is going to have the higher note, which usually is going to be on the right hand, and the bass clef is going to have the lower notes, which usually is going to be on the left hand. So treble, right hand, bass clef, left hand. So next we have the key signature. That tells you which key you're going to be playing on. This sign that you see right there is what we call flat. We talked about that in our previous video where we were teaching you the black notes and white notes of the piano. So basically flat means going down, but sometimes you're going to have sharps, which means going up. Now, assuming you're going to be playing on a major key, here's an easy way to think about it. If you don't have any flats or sharp in the beginning of your staff, you're going to be playing on C major, because it doesn't have any black notes on it. Now, if you have one flat, that's F major. If you have two flats, that's B flat. If you have three flats, that's E flat. If you have four flats, that's A flat. If you have five, that's D flat. If you have six, that's G flat. And if you have seven, that's B. I think it goes up to seven. So now in terms of sharps, if you have one sharp, that's G. If you have two sharps, that's D. If you have three sharps, that's A. If you have four sharps, that's E. If you have five sharps, that's B. If you have six sharps, that's F sharp. If you have seven sharp, that's C sharp. So when I have flats, I think of circle of fourth starting with F. And when I have sharps, I think of circle of fifth starting with G. Now, that's the best I can do explaining that. The rest is going to be up to you to memorize them. Now, once we get the key signature down, next is going to be our time signature. Now, easy way to look at it is just to look at the top number. But that's only if the bottom number is 4. If it's different from 4, you're going to be in trouble, because now the value of each note is going to change. But not to make it hard on yourself, let's just assume that we're only going to work with time signature where the bottom number is 4. So now you only look at the top number. If it says 2, it means your every measure is gonna be 2 beats, meaning you're gonna use a metronome of 2 beats. If it says 3, it's gonna be 3 beats. If it says 4, it's gonna be 4 beats. Sometimes instead of saying 4, you're just gonna have a big C, which still means it's 4 beats. Now the shape of the note is gonna tell you how long you're gonna spend on that note. However, the position it is placed on the staff, which means how high it's placed or how low it's placed, is gonna tell you the pitch of that note. So first you're gonna have a whole note, which is basically a circle, and it's worth 4 beats. Second, you're gonna have a half note, which is that circle with a bar. It's worth 2 beats. Then you're gonna have a quarter note, which is a black circle with a bar, which is worth only 1 beat. And then you're gonna start having those notes with crochet, or you can call them hooks. So we have eighth notes, which has 1 hook and is worth half a beat. We have 16th note, which has 2 hooks and is worth a quarter of a beat. We have 32nd note, which has 3 hooks and is worth 1/8 of a beat. And then we have a 64th note, which has 4 hooks and is worth a 16th of a beat. You would have to be lightning fast to play a note that fast. So now let's say we were singing the value of the notes without paying attention to the sound of the note. Now, understanding the second measure can be a little tricky because you have what you call a dotted note. A dotted note is like the note plus half of its value. For example, so an eighth note would normally be worth half a beat. Now, because it's a dotted eighth note, it's gonna be worth 3/4 of a beat. Now, now if you don't understand fractions, the math can be tricky. So in this example, it would sound like pa 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 pa. So getting the value of a note without considering the sound of that note is a little easier. Now, the part I personally struggle with the most is the part where I get to name the note or sound the note. For the treble clef, you're gonna have every good boy does fine, which is E, G, B, D, F. It's 5 lines. Every good boy does fine. E, G, B, D, F. Now, for the spaces, you're going to have the word face. F-A-C-E. It's going to be 4 spaces. Now, for the bass clef, it's going to be different. You're going to have good boy do fine always for the lines, which is literally G, B, D, F-A. Now for the spaces, they will use all cows eat grass, which basically stands for A-C-E-G. Now the exercise I use for my students to remember them, I just place random notes on random space or lines, and then they need to recognize it as quickly as possible. Another method that you can use to remember it is just like you did for the notes on the piano. So you try to get all the C's together, and then you get all the D's, all the E's, all the F, all the G's, all the A's, all the B's. So you get them in alphabetical order. And then once you can remember them like that, you can just start doing it randomly. Now, the part where it can get a little tricky is when you get to the ledger lines, which basically are imaginary lines that are around the staff, because obviously only 5 lines and spaces are not going to be enough to write all the notes that you have on the piano. That's why the best thing you can do is to keep repeating them over and over until you can remember like any position, like the position of all the notes. So first we have B flat left hand, B flat right hand, E flat left hand, E flat right hand, G, G. So now left hand I have E flat, B flat, and then right hand I have G and then B flat. Next I have E flat and C on the left hand, and on the right hand I still have the same thing. I have G and B flat. Those 2 chords are going to be the same thing. And then right here I have E flat and C on the left hand, and on the right hand you can see I have F sharp, right? You can see the sharp on the first line, and then A. Normally my A's would be flat, but here I have the natural symbol, which means instead of making A flat, I'm gonna keep the natural A. I have E flat and B flat, but on the right hand, G and B flat. Now left hand, I'm gonna have E flat again and A natural. You can see the natural sign. And then here on the right hand, I'm gonna have F sharp and then C. First note is still gonna be E flat and then B flat. Now right hand, I'm gonna have G and B flat. Now since my measure is a 3-beat measure, I have two quarter notes, which is worth 2 beats. Now the third sign I have here, it's not really a note, it's a pause. I'm gonna pause for 1 beat. So thank you guys. Thank you for taking your time and watching this video. As usual, please share and like the video. And again, don't forget to practice.